If you want to mediate your divorce, here are some steps to prepare for mediation. Number 1, is your situation right for mediation? We have a lot of people contact our office wanting us to mediate their case. We turn down a lot of people. We don't want to help you mediate your case if you don't have a situation that a mediator will be useful for. Mediation will be good for you if you're able to communicate with your spouse and you respect each other. Great. We can help you mediate your case. But if not, you don't want to go to mediation because it's not going to be successful. It's just going to be a waste of time and money and effort. And then you're going to end up, fighting it out anyways. You'd be much better off at least having an attorney to help negotiate a deal for you. It doesn't mean you have to go to court. It just means that, you want an expert on your side so you're not triggered with communicating with your ex and your difficult, with his or her difficult personality. So is your situation a good situation for mediation? Number 2, did you find a good, reputable mediator? There's all different kinds of mediators in the Bay Area. At my firm, our of counsel, Robert Travis, does mediation, and he really enjoys it, but he only takes a handful of cases. We do mediation if you're a right fit. We're not going to take your case if we don't think it's the right fit. We have maybe a list of 4 or 5 mediators we really like to use in the Bay Area. We'll refer you to one of them. If we refer you to a mediator, often what we do is we serve as your consulting attorney, where you'll go to the mediator and with your spouse, and they'll help you, figure out your financial settlement or your custody settlement. There's some mediators that only do custody negotiation or mediation, so it just kind of depends what you need. And then you'll come back to us, and we'll give you legal advice behind the scenes to make sure whatever this deal is in your best interest. So number 2 is choosing that mediator. That mediator, in my opinion, if it's not just for custody, if it's for financial issues, that mediator needs to be an experienced family law attorney. They need to know the law. There's a lot of people that act as mediators that don't know family law. What are you doing? That's like, I had a client use someone from their church to help them mediate their divorce. That's great. Go do that. I'd much rather you do that than hire some mediator that doesn't know family law. If the church helps, if your religious beliefs help convince each of you to reach agreements and be cooperative, that's great. Do that. But don't find someone that's not a family law attorney just because they're wearing a hat and calling themselves a mediator if there's no other qualifying, feature they have. The third way you can prepare for mediation is, you should be ready to negotiate a deal with your spouse and make sure that you have, there's not unequal power dynamics. If you feel like, okay, maybe you're both reasonable and able to communicate, but if you're sensing this feeling of kind of people pleasing where you just want to give in to whatever they want because you just want this to be over with, I don't necessarily know if mediation is the right fit for you, or at least be aware of it and get an attorney behind the scenes just to kind of protect you from yourself. So I suppose if you do feel that, imbalanced power dynamics, then, at least hire a consulting attorney to really give you advice, because you need to understand that whatever you agree to in mediation, if you sign it, that's it. That's the deal. You can't redo it later. We had a case where we really wanted to help this woman have a judge set aside the agreement she reached in mediation because it was so unfair, and the judge just refused. The judge let her know she wasn't going to change the deal because she knowingly went into this deal, even though it was super unfair, and it was really heartbreaking. And, in my opinion, there had been a change of circumstances where the judge should have agreed and the judge wouldn't. So, judges are pretty restrictive when it comes to agreeing to set aside something that you agreed to in mediation. So you want to make sure that it's going to serve you for the long term. It's not going to appease your spouse just in the moment, Number 4, way to prepare for mediation is really think through what would be in the best interest of your children if you have children. It's your job to do that kind of homework. Don't expect the mediator to know your kids, right? Every child's completely different. One 5-year-old is different than the next 5-year-old. You really need to be up to speed on what your kid needs. Think through it and how you want to share the holidays with your spouse and what kind of parenting plan makes the most sense to you. The more you can think ahead on issues to navigate through mediation, the more impactful your experience in mediation will be. Another tip I have for you is, unfortunately, a lot of people think mediation is just going to take one day. You're going to show up and you're just going to have everything figured out in one day. You can walk away and go home and live the rest of your life. And it's usually takes a little bit longer than that. It usually takes several sessions. And honestly, after several sessions, if you're making zero headway, you probably should have listened to my first tip, which is make sure you have the right case for mediation, because maybe you didn't have the right case for mediation and you should have just hired an attorney. So, I think having realistic expectation is pretty important when going into mediation. I hope this video was helpful. If you have more questions about mediation or you're looking for a consulting attorney to help advise you behind the scenes, while you're going forward with mediation, or maybe you just want a referral to a good mediator in the Bay Area. We do have, some of our attorneys do mediation, but some don't. So we'll really want to talk you through, your specifics of your situation. Feel free to contact my firm, Fenchel Family Law, and we'd be happy to talk you through this and potentially help you.